Hey, it's another week, another recipe, and summer has finally arrived here in the Pacific Northwest, and we are going to celebrate with a 1920s blueberry cake that is sure to ring in the picnic season. Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Courtney Morris, and I cook history's forgotten recipes out of random cookbooks I find and sometimes websites. Thank you for joining me. If you are new here, I appreciate you coming along, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you are coming back for more, my utmost thanks for your support. All right, let's dive in. I hope this one is a good one. All right, so today's recipe, and I told you if you watched last week's video, I mentioned that I would get out of my 1940s wartime ration cookbook. It's not my only cookbook, so I did have another recipe I wanted to try, and this one is from 1915. So it's a beautiful summer day here in the Pacific Northwest, and it is picnic weather. And I found a cookbook called 100 Picnic Suggestions because they were fancy back then, and that's what everybody did. And apparently take cake on picnics. So we're going to try a blueberry cake, which would be perfect for summer, and I want to see how well this goes. We're not going to take it on a picnic, but we're definitely going to try it. Okay, so I actually read through this recipe this time, so there's not going to be any surprises, I don't think, and we're just going to see how this goes. So first things first, it says sift 2 cups of flour with 5 teaspoons of baking powder and a ½ teaspoon of salt. Maybe. So there's one. Oh gosh, it said sift. Hold on. So we're going to sift 2 cups of flour. I cannot find my flour sifter, but a sieve works just fine. And I always forget to do this on my modern day recipes. It's another step, so I forget. And 5 teaspoons of baking powder and ½ teaspoon of salt. Okay, so I'm gonna mix that together. Okay, add 1 cup of sugar. All right, so 2 beaten egg yolks, beaten again with a 1/3 cup of milk. We're just gonna beat the crap out of these egg yolks. So I'm gonna stick that there. Okay, and I'm gonna separate out these whites. I always found it easier doing it with my hand. I do have an egg white separator, but my kids find it and I never ever know where it is, as if you watch those videos, most things in my kitchen, I just never know where anything is. Oops. Gross. Okay. Okay, so I'm supposed to beat these egg yolks first and then beat them again with some milk for whatever reason. I'm gonna use the biggest whisk known to man, and I'll give you 2 guesses why. That's right, I don't know where my other one is. Okay, so I beat my egg yolks. I'm not sure how beaten they're supposed to be, but they're liquidized. And now I beat it again with a 1/3 cup of milk. Okay, so then I'm gonna add that in. And then I need 2 tablespoons of melted butters. All right, there's the butter. Okay, so now it says beat well and add 1 tablespoon of vanilla, 2 cups of berries, well dredged in flour, and then the stiffened egg whites. Not sure how I'm supposed to beat this. This is very thick. Okay. Beating it usually means using a whisk. There is not a lot of liquid here. Maybe that vanilla will add some. At this point, I think any liquid is going to help here, so a tablespoon of vanilla. And now let's try to mush this together. The only thing I hate about doing this with a whisk when they say to beat it is that it gets, stuck. Actually, I can't remember what recipe it was. It was a while ago that I had done where we really thought that it was gonna not have enough liquid, but the egg whites turned out to be the saving grace. So I sure hope we have a saving grace. I don't know if you can see this real well, but it's like sugar cookie dough. It looks and kind of actually tastes like sugar cookie dough. Now I need to add 2 cups of blueberries well dredged in flour. So it is not blueberry season, it is June, which means that if I want blueberries that don't cost an arm and a leg, I have to go frozen, which isn't ideal for baking. It'll still work, but it's not gonna be that fresh blueberry, and it's gonna add a little bit of liquid to it, which, as you just saw, might be a good thing. But you can't pay me enough to go buy fresh blueberries out of season right now. It's just, especially up here, it's just so expensive. Okay, 2 cups of berries. and then well dredged in flour. So it didn't give an amount, it just gave a, make sure they're in flour. Then it says to add these in. I don't think I need to add in the rest of the flour that's in here, so I'm gonna try and just get the berries. Okay, so now I have frozen dredged blueberries in cookie dough. So now I need to beat my egg whites. Okay, so I'm gonna whisk my egg whites. I found my tiny whisk, yay. I wish I could use my mixer, but if I'm gonna be historically accurate, hand mixer or electric mixers of any sort didn't come into households until the 1950s and 60s, so it's woman power. Stand by. All right, my egg whites are now shiny, smooth, and stiff. Not going anywhere. If they run out, it's not stiff enough. Stiff peaks means that you can pull up your spatula or your whisk or your spoon and it will create a literal mountain and stay there. Okay, so now that I've sufficiently, I didn't think about this part about having frozen blueberries in dough makes cold dough, and now I have to mix in things. So, when you're cooking with egg whites, it's all bubbles. That's what gives it that lift, which makes for a really delicate, light batter. But you don't want to mush them when you're trying to put them in. So usually your batter's not this thick, and usually you're able to just fold it in, no problem. This is, I've got a literal ball of dough. So I'm gonna be as careful as I can in not crushing the bubbles too much, but also trying to mush it in. I think there's a reason why modern day recipes have listed out, because people have figured out you mix your liquids first and then add in your flours and your solids, because I should have done that with this. But if you remember, this channel is about experimenting with exactly how these recipes are written, as if I was a housewife that had no clue other than using my recipe book. Okay, so now I need to turn into a shallow, well-greased pan. So I'm gonna opt for my 8-inch Wilton cake pan. That's about as shallow as I've got, and I'm just gonna rub butter in it. Way back in the early 20th century, picnics were all the rage, and the picnic food was not peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It was pretty dang fancy. I'll go through this, I'll link the recipe, but it's an entire booklet off archive.org. And I will link that, and if you go through it, you will see that all the recipes in there are kind of fancy for a picnic, but what do I know? PBJs and Cheetos is where I'm at. This looks like I did it in first grade, oh, like this is a school project I'm gonna take home to my mom. Don't get me wrong, it smells pretty good for what it is. I'm gonna hypothesize here that this is gonna be more of like a muffin or a scone in cake form instead of an actual like chocolate cake kind of consistency. So now we have to bake it for half an hour in a slow oven. And back then, slow oven was the lowest setting that you could get because it was wood or coal fire. So you had slow, moderate, or hot. And this is a slow oven, which is about 325 degrees-ish Fahrenheit. So we're just gonna do that and see how it goes. All right, it is out of the oven and it is still warm. It smells so good. It smells like a Costco blueberry muffin, but I have a feeling it's gonna be more like a blueberry scone, which could be good. Okay, so it is caramelized on the crust. It's nice and brown, but that sugar content in there did make it a nice crisp. The blueberries held up well enough for being frozen blueberries. It did dip in the middle. The toothpick came out clean, but I think that's because there's just excess moisture in there from the blueberries. So it might be different if you try this, if it's good, and if you use regular non-frozen. So let's see how this goes. It cuts really nicely. My whole kitchen smells like blueberries. I don't know if that's the most even cut I could have done, but that's okay. All right, so it is pretty squishy. It's not too dense. It is a dense cake, but the crumb is nice. All right, let's get this going. I'm gonna do a second run, just a sec. Ooh, hot blueberry. Hot blueberry to the tongue. Wasn't expecting that. Okay, this tastes like what I thought it would be, kind of more scone-ish. It's definitely not the light, fluffy Costco muffins, but there's that baking powder aftertaste. It's not a heavy flavor, but it's definitely there. It's not bad. Honestly, I was thinking it would be sweeter. It's good. I do like it. It is good. I definitely would have this with a cup of tea. And maybe with a tweak or two, powdered sugar glaze frosting or even some cream cheese frosting on that, I think would top it off fantastically. Would I make it again? Absolutely yes. I'm so happy for this win. I've had a couple of fails in the past couple videos, so this is super awesome. I will link the recipe below, and if you have made it this far, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate the support. Thanks for hanging in with me, and I hope you liked the recipe. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification. That will tell you every time I upload, which is every Monday, with a new historical experiment that mostly turn out not bad. Some just aren't good, and some are just, you know, they're pretty good. I love hearing from you guys, so please go ahead and leave me a comment if you enjoyed this video. Also, leave me a recipe or an idea for a recipe. I'll go ahead and try it for you. Also, if you need something else to watch after this one, check this video out right here. It was amazing. Otherwise, I will see you next Monday with a new historical experiment, and I hope you enjoy your week. Bye!